Welcome to You Got to Laugh to Keep from Crying. My name is O.W. Sweeney. I'm here with my co-host, my brother, my comrade, and my friend, Richard Courts. How you doing today, brother?
Always when I'm shoulder to shoulder with you, brother O.W. Sweeney, it's good. That's a good day.
That's a good day.
And it's a really good day because we've got an old friend.
No. Let's get into the North Carolina
Triad Jobs with Justice.
Where you can reach us at
336-272-2758. I was
Now,
too
before
excited.
I understand that we want to get to talk to our guest, but I would like to.
Well, let's announce him anyway first. Can we announce him? It's Brother Issa Abuzawader.
Abuzawader, that's right.
And he is a leading Palestinian and Arab community leader in Greensboro, and he has been
But before we get
many
into that,
years.
the reason I didn't want to get into that, welcome back to the show, my brother.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But one thing I want to say, get in there, I want to offer from this show our condolence to the family of the great Yvonne Johnson.
Yes, and I know that Issa feels strongly about that as
yes,
well.
yes.
And so,
That's right.
and I always called her after she was mayor.
Mayor.
I always said on our show too that I call her mayor for short.
I tell you,
Yes.
it's a big loss
Big loss.
for
That's
Greensboro and North Carolina.
correct. Yes.
That lady, I consider her like my sister. She was my sister. She always called me Brother Issa. And the last time I seen her, me and Mary Kay and her was at the CCJ banquet. I wheeled her to her car and barely touched her car on the side. Mary Kay said, watch it. I said, I ain't touch it. She said, don't you fuss at my brother. She told Mary Kay. And she kissed me and she said, I love you, Issa, and I always will love you. And that's the last time, and I will carry that with me the rest of my life till I meet her again.
It's interesting because one of the beautiful experiences that Sandra and I had, and North Carolina Jobs with Justice had with Yvonne, anytime that we were having a public meeting, often I called her at the last minute and said, could you come out and welcome our people to this meeting? And I don't think she ever failed to show up, even if it was less than 24 hours notice. I mean, because she was trying to use her influence to push a positive agenda in this community, as where she was born and raised and was really Greensboro incarnate. And this story is this: the very last time that the great Crystal Lee Sutton, the real Norma Ray, the great working class heroine, the last event that Crystal attended was when we invited her to come to Greensboro from Burlington, where they lived with her husband, Preston, to a meeting that was dealing with the resistance of two Caribbean island nations to colonial oppression. That's what the topic was. And Yvonne came out we were last minute as usual. She came out to welcome the people. And to my surprise, and I knew Yvonne pretty well, I knew Crystal Sutton, the real Norma Ray, even much better. I had no idea that they knew each other. Like I said, Crystal, this was the last public thing she ever attended. And when she and Yvonne saw each other, and Yvonne was at the podium, they had such a warm exchange. But it tells you, we're a pro-working class and a working class organization. Yvonne's connection to the best in the working class in this country at the time, which was people like the real Norma
I know
Ray.
she was for international people also.
Yes.
She appointed Mary Kay to head the international. She's the one did that to Mary Kay, and then she's the one asked Mary Kay to run for city council.
Oh, nice.
You know,
Very
she
nice.
said, we need somebody on that city council who for the international also, beside, you know, in Greensboro and
Right,
all that.
right.
And she was a great lady. You know,
She was a unifier,
yeah,
and not a divider like
That's it.
the,
That's it.
the coming and the current president. Never mind the coming, and especially the coming president Trump
That's right.
in this country.
I am enjoying this conversation, and I enjoyed it, but it sounds so good that we are talking about this great lady and how she responded to bringing people up and uplifting
together.
people together. I would like to take that sentiment of her life and to bring in the fact that why we have Israel here,
Yeah.
to let him explain why my brothers and sisters over in the Palestinian is being terrorized by a terrorist named Netanyahu.
Yeah, and has been fully, that terrorist, Netanyahu, has been fully backed, in his own words, by Joseph Biden. And the man in waiting, Trump, is an even closer friend of Netanyahu than Biden ever dreamed of being. So it's hard to imagine anybody having been a better friend.
But what's so upsetting to me about it
Yeah,
is that they're representing the aggressor, the terrorist, and they're blaming the people who are fighting for their just land, the terrorists. For instance, they back in Ukraine because Russia is coming and trying to take their land. They're not bagging the Palestinians over there because it's Netanyahu them and the United States of America is over there trying to get rid of them out of their land, take their land.
Let's have correction is Israel, not all Israeli agree with Netanyahu. Netanyahu doing it for personal,
as well as political.
political to keep himself in office.
And out of prison.
Out of
Very
prison.
similar to Trump.
That's what
Yeah.
he was doing.
Right.
So it's my pleasure to come and join you all in this show. I've been on this show a couple of times before. I consider you all as family,
Right.
my brothers.
And
I
vice
meet you all
versa.
the time, you know, and I've been to Richard's house many times. I see you at the Concerned Citizen a lot. And I'm telling you what, I'm really proud of the Greensboro people standing for justice. You know, I might be a Palestinian. I came when I was 19 years old. But my family lived in Palestine, 1948. We were driven out of my village away from Gaza.
Excuse me for interrupting you.
Yeah.
So your family was living there when they established Israel.
Before the establishment of Israel.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
The reason I say when they established Israel is because I consider Israel as invaders.
Occupier. Well,
He uses occupier. You use invaders, and I use settlers, colonial
But-
settlers.
Which all come down the same
my
Right,
way.
family,
They're terrorists.
matter of fact,
That's right, and that's how they got. That's how
I
they
went,
got in.
I went to see my village several times and nobody in it, with few kaputs and stuff like that. But my family was driven in 1948 and they came to Gaza Strip or Gaza, if anything left of Gaza now. And we lived in Jabalia camp. I was born in Jabalia, next to the Jabalia camp, and some friends of my family. And me and my brother, when we were born up there in that house, we were sick. My father could not afford to buy medicine for us. He was boiling the trees, leaves from the trees. And this is
boiling leaves.
yeah,
from
boiling
the trees
leaves.
to
And
keep
this
you
is
healthy.
remind me what's
Yeah.
going on right now. People cannot feed themselves. They have no medicine. They have nothing. These people, 90% of the Palestinians up there, ain't got nothing to do with Hamas. Everything being destroyed. Where I was raised till I was 19 years old. Jabalia camp, Jabalia, Gaza, all other things. It's been completely destroyed. My house right now is nobody in it but Israeli soldiers. To me, 2 years ago, me and my son, my brother, went back to visit to show my son. Gaza was paradise. I didn't see no other elements in it. Everybody was living just fine and having a good time. My son loved it so much. I had a house, 4-storage house. My son built 2 more, 1.5, American style, so he could go and work from there for his business 2-3 months a year. But now his hopes all dashed. And now my family, the one I grew up with and my son knows, we get divided into north and south. I have nephews, cousins, and all that living in the south. My mother, she's 100 years old. She had to move 4 times. 4 times. 100 years old lady. She told me yesterday, I don't want to die till I go back to my house. Then I want to die in my house in Jabalia. I don't want to die up here in exile, which is, that's my nephew's land they're staying in. But it's so sad. When I talk to my nieces, they have no school, they have nothing. They have so sudden they have good jobs. Now they have to go beg for food, for medicine, for clothes. Thank God they have an uncle named Isa up here. I help him. How about these people ain't got no uncles? Ain't got no cousins in America to help these people. It's just so sad. Politics, dirty politics, do that to people.
Imperialism.
Yeah,
basically.
Do that to people.
And colonialism.
I don't understand it. It's beyond me. I mean, they ask me, when I talk to them, can't you talk to your president? I say, what president? Can you talk to the president? Can they stop the war? And between me and you. People up there, connect. The thing what's going on up there.
Well, but let's face it.
Yeah.
That Biden, right from the first day of Israel taking on this huge war, after the Hamas attack, and we should say Hamas is much closer to, as an organization, is much closer to Netanyahu. Hamas.
Yeah.
Netanyahu was feeding Hamas all these years, and then all of a sudden, as O.W. pointed out on a few of our shows, the Israeli Mossad, probably the most intelligent intelligence organization in the world, in Gaza, this open air concentration camp, they knew what individuals were doing, but they didn't know what this big mass plan was for October 7th. That's beyond credibility to believe that. And so Hamas has had a connection to the state of Israel and to Netanyahu himself.
They're the founders.
For years, yeah. And so the idea that, and here in this city, I mentioned to you as we were talking today, that Alan Johnson of the News and Record had basically all but promised me a 700-long word feature where I was exposing John Hood of the John Locke Foundation for demonizing pro-Palestinian protesters in University of Chapel Hill. And in that situation, in the end, he played me along, and that's what happened, because they didn't want a principled defense of Palestine and a principled defense of the people who have the guts to get out there and protest against the U.S. policy in
But
Palestine.
let me say something about that. I'm for everybody protesting peacefully.
Okay.
I don't like anybody to destroy anything.
Yeah, yeah.
You protest peacefully all night, 24 hours a day. I have no problem with protesting peacefully. When you start destroying things, then you took away
From
from
cause.
your cause.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I don't. I'm a peaceful man. I've been working for peace all my life. I got a lot of Jewish friends, a lot of Christian friends,
Right,
and
you got one right here.
you know,
You got one right
you
here.
know, a lot of foreigners, all kind, international people.
Right.
You know, but I have no animosity toward anybody.
Yeah.
Period.
Wow.
But what's happening to my people in Gaza is just so sad, and me. My family blaming me as an American. Why can't you all stop it?
Well,
Why can't you stop this? You cannot even control the aid going to us.
right.
And you give them the bombs, but you cannot let the aid come to us.
Right.
You know, that's the blaming me.
Yeah. Well, it's our
You
tax
know?
money.
That's-
It's our
Our
tax
tax-
money.
that's
what
actually
I meant.
providing the
United States
bombs
of
and the
America
weapons.
is trying to play both sides. They want to please Israel, and then they want to turn around and try to please the Palestinian people over there.
Well,
They don't please
they
them,
can't
huh?
please the Palestinians. They're
I
way
said
beyond
try.
that. Yeah.
I said
They
try.
try.
Don't forget that
They-
word.
yeah. Well, they
Don't
speak.
leave that word
They
out.
speak with the U.S.
I mean, they're
imperialists.
talking all this
They
stuff
speak
over
with
there.
forked tongue.
And what is the easiest way to do it? Do not send
Any weapons of destruction.
over
Absolutely.
there, where they can
Right,
destroy
right.
those people.
I hate wars. I'm against any wars against anybody. You know, like Ukraine. I'm for the Ukrainian people to defend themselves. And we stand in very strongly against Ukraine, against Russia, right? They're giving them the weapon. They give them to defend themselves. They're giving them food. They're giving them billions of dollars, which it should go to our schools, our school.
Absolutely.
Okay, all kind of money goes
And our
overseas.
healthcare.
And
Yeah, our healthcare
and
too,
why,
right.
I'm telling you, why in Israel is a free health care to everybody? Up here we can't afford to do it.
Right.
Huh?
And we subsidize in Israel?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that's for example. We send billions of dollars to Ukraine and we'll come to our school. Oh, we ain't got no money. We ain't come to health care. We ain't got no money.
Right.
Why?
Well-
America should come first.
Yes.
The American people should come first before anybody else. You know?
I-
But you have to understand, a lot of American people don't realize that they're being exploited as well. Just like they're playing the Palestinians, they're playing the citizens here in the United States of America. And they have to open their eyes up to that and stop sending these politicians back to Raleigh or Washington or wherever they're doing until they start representing the people. We, the people who's supposed to have this thing called a vote, must vote those people out.
How would you
They
have?
have to stop representing the rich and start representing the citizens of the United States of
Yeah,
America.
but actually,
the common honest,
it's
the
that-
working people.
Yeah, but the vote can't be the only thing we do, because right now, the way that the Supreme Court has ruled over these last period of years is that the uncharted money can come in billions of dollars, like from Elon Musk. And what we're seeing is this election was purchased by the billionaires in this country. So the vote is not, by itself, the vote can't be the only answer.
I understand
Yeah.
what you're saying. I'm not arguing with you.
Yeah.
But as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, I don't think Congress or anybody disrespect them. Because once they rule that a company is people pay income taxes. How come they don't force them companies to pay income taxes like the rest of the people do?
But then we found out that certainly with Supreme
can buy
Court,
'em?
right, then it's a lot cheaper to just buy those few individuals wearing those white black robes on the Supreme Court. than it is to do the right thing for the masses of humanity in this country. So, but, and really, Isa, I believe that even if you look carefully at the Ukraine and Russia, there's an argument that can be made that the U.S. under Biden and all actually provoked that war. That's why when the opening days of the war, instead of the Russians having the advantage, the Russians were stuck in the mud in a 40-mile-long convoy. And who was behind that? You know. So, but your point is a good one, because why the question of why the U.S. imperialists are carrying this out is a good question, because in both places, and what we found out now, and we were talking about it just before the show, that when we look at the fall of Assad in Syria that just took place, Netanyahu said, the Prime Minister of Israel said, that he called Assad's fall a historic day, and he said that's a direct result of our forceful action against Hezbollah and Iran, Assad's main supporters. So when you get, and don't forget, Assad has gone to Russia. So here's where we have the link between those two wars and why Biden, I'm pushing 80. I don't remember, and I've been active politically my entire life, going back to my teenage years, okay? I don't ever remember a U.S. president giving such uncritical, total support to any cause as Biden did to Netanyahu, which you could have thought, and Netanyahu was like Trump. He only ran for the head of the country again to keep out of prison. The people of Israel were already looking to protest. They were protesting thousands in the streets until
they're still protesting now.
Until the so-called Hamas attack.
Let me remind you, when he was vice president, Biden,
right?
What happened when Netanyahu came? They wouldn't even welcome him to the White House. Remember? They hated Netanyahu.
Right.
You know?
Right.
They hated Netanyahu. And so Southern become his friends. You know, that's it's just politics beyond me.
It's
it's
it's political and military strategy. Yeah. And what it is, in my opinion, the U.S. is trying to crush Russia and Russia's allies like Iran and Syria and so on. And they're using, and in the Middle East, they want to hold on to the oil and gas, and Israel and Saudi Arabia are the two keys for them to be united. So I think that we're seeing why
politics is dirty.
Yeah.
How can you be friend with a king or a prince? He's not a king yet, but he controls it.
Yeah.
And Muhammad Salman, whatever.
Yes.
And he cut up his opposition with the saw.
Right.
And you friend with him?
Yeah, Khashoggi, I think was it.
Yeah, Khashoggi.
The U.S. And he was already an
American citizen.
That's right.
How can you be friend with an idiot like this? Instead of feeding his people, feeding the poor, he building these cities, cost him $100 billion, something like that. For what? For what? Instead of build his economy. It's the same thing with United Arab Emirates. Everywhere in the Middle East, that idiot involved with, from Libya to Syria to Sudan, everywhere. I mean, it's just beyond me, and we allowing, United States allowing these dictators, they never been elected, they killed each other to come to the office, to come to power.
Right.
If you,
and that's why you get I don't mean to interrupt, but that's why you get somebody like Trump who can legitimately believe that he can become a dictator in the United States, because that's exactly what the U.S.
I don't think Trump will become a dictator, because the United States people were not going to allow that.
Well,
but these
I don't know all the people he putting in power who praises him.
But 4 years.
No,
I mean,
there's no
that can
guarantee.
be done in 4 years. don't forget the Supreme Court have already said he can walk on water. As far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
He thinks
Listen,
he's Jesus.
We're going to have to do this again soon because
Well,
we're at
finished.
We got a few more minutes. We got a few more minutes.
yeah. Well, so we're going to give you a chance to say any last words, and then we'll say our.
Inshallah. We say in Arabic, Inshallah, in God's will. In God's will, anything happens. If God, I know you don't believe it, but
the rest of you
that's
do.
the,
That's fine.
yeah, but that's what they say
Yeah.
overseas. If I'm going to meet you tomorrow, you say Inshallah.
Yeah.
If God willing to do that.
Well, with all that good sentiment, OW and I usually close the show with the old Union saying, "In
our unity
lies our strength." Do you want to join us with that?
In our unity lies our strength.
It's great to see you again.
Great to see you too.